In this video, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my impressions with Lies of P. This is from extensive playing while we've been at Gamescom. We've actually got to play this game several times since we've been here, and I'm really looking forward to this game. And I kind of want to tell you guys all about what I've learned about it so far, how it feels, what it looks like, how it plays. And if you guys can just forgive my audio quality in this video, I'm traveling right now. Obviously, I'm in Germany and Cologne doing this, and my setup is not exactly ideal. So let's get into what my thoughts and impressions are so far. So first of all, the first thing I want to say about the game is that when my first session, no one explained to me what to do. Everyone was kind of busy when I got to the console and I started playing. No one explained anything, so when I sat down and started playing, I just had to figure it out. And one thing I will say that I noticed immediately is everything felt extremely familiar. Healing was familiar, combat mechanics were familiar. Everything that you would sort of expect in a Bloodborne type game was very familiar, and no one actually had to tell me how to play. It was very easy to figure out. So if you guys are From Software fans, Bloodborne fans, even Elden Ring fans, I think this is a game that's going to speak to you, particularly those Bloodborne fans out there. And it should feel extremely natural when you're playing. I think that's really important for these games because you don't want to spend so much time fighting the controls. You want to be actually enjoying the challenge of the game, the discovery and exploration, and spending time learning the controls. That goes right out the window. You're going to know exactly what to do right away, and that's really great. The next thing I want to talk about is something that you're going to notice right away when you look at the gameplay footage, even before you figure out the controls, which take like a minute at most, is the visual style of this game. It has that same style of Bloodborne. So if you haven't gotten your Bloodborne fix in a while, that setting, that Victorian era, you're going to get it in Lies of P, and you're going to get it in spades. And another thing is the graphics are absolutely outstanding. The visual style combined with like how good the graphics are is actually really impressive from such a small studio. And personally, I think the graphics are even better than Bloodborne. If the game runs on the Unreal Engine, there's no doubt in my mind that the Unreal Engine provides better graphical fidelity, better graphical performance than the engine that From Software uses in their games. So you're even going to get a really good visual experience with this, sort of indie Bloodborne-like game that I think, a lot of people would forgive, like, a lot in terms of the, graphic quality of the game from such a small studio. But you get, like, really high quality anyway, which is so impressive. It also played extremely smoothly. Obviously, I don't know the specs of the system that I was playing on, but I was playing at 60 FPS in 4K, didn't have a single frame drop, didn't experience a single bug. From what I heard at the booth and the several booths they were at, because this is at many different booths, not a single person that played has reported a bug, so that's a really good sign, particularly from an indie studio. So you're getting like really high quality production value and something that's been really focused on. And I think that's just going to add to the overall experience of this game. So the next thing I want to talk about is combat in this game. The combat in this game feels really tight. Obviously, anytime you're making a Souls-like or Bloodborne-like game, combat is usually the part where, the game gets separated from Software. Nobody has created a game with as good a combat as From Software, in my opinion. But Lies of P comes really close. The controls are really tight. They're snappy. They're responsive. When you do a dodge, it feels good. When you get a parry, it feels good. Everything about it feels really good. Coming from Thymesia that also had phenomenal combat, I think Lies of P is even closer to From Software in terms of, the quality of that combat. Thymesia is a little bit different, obviously, but the combat here is so close to it in terms of actual quality from what I've played so far that besides the graphics and the combat, when you get these two things combined, it's absolutely amazing. Like if somebody had showed you this gameplay footage and you didn't know who made the game, your first thought would be From Software. It's as close to a From Software game as I've ever seen in a game that's not From Software, and I think that says a ton right there. Beyond that, another thing that really grabbed me about this game that's probably not immediately obvious is the character progression. There's a lot of character progression in this game, from the unique left arm equipment that you can equip that changes, what you do with your L2 press, to the different weapons you can combine from handles and blades, making different weapons, which is kind of cool. And also you have like a passive skill tree that you unlock and put points into as you expand the game, and you can further tailor that with other little like things you can drop in there. You obviously have armor slots as well, and like equipment slots that look like, maybe there would be a ring slot in the Bloodborne games or Elden Ring. And there's just like lots of different equipment slots. So there's a lot of things you're going to be able to do with your character in this game, and there may be even more than what you would see in Bloodborne when it's all said and done. And, probably my only complaint about Bloodborne, besides the load times at launch, is the lack of customization or character progression. It had, you know, only 15 weapons or so at launch, and you know, you couldn't upgrade armor very much. It's obviously a nitpicky complaint because it's from software, but I feel like this game might even give you a bit more in terms of what you can do with your character besides that, and that's also absolutely amazing. Out of all the games I've seen so far at Gamescom, the 2 games of the show for me are Owlcats, Warhammer 40k, Rogue Trader, and Lies of P. These 2 games have absolutely blown my mind. And I'll get into Rogue Trader in another video because I really want to talk to you guys about that too. But Lies of P is arguably the game of the show. The lines for this game, just so you guys know, are around the corner. They don't have enough consoles for everyone who wants to play. The demand is so high. It's incredible for this game. And this is one of those games that I think could be, you know, a sleeper hit that, you know, obviously as Souls fans we can kind of see coming, but maybe the rest of the gaming industry isn't so aware of what they have here. A couple of other things I really love about this game are that it is a next-gen and PC-only game, meaning it's not being developed for PlayStation 4 or the old Xbox. It's being developed for the new series of Xbox and PlayStation 5, which means that the, you know, as you can see from the footage, the graphics are absolutely outstanding. And it doesn't get into this weird limbo where it has to design the game to run on both platforms, and that takes up time and resources. It's purely for next gen and PC, so I think that's going to make the game feel and look really good. Should make the load times better, all those things that, you know, we've come to really appreciate about the next gen console. I think you're going to see that in this game, and it's going to be outstanding. All we know so far about the release date of this game is that it's coming out in 2023. We don't have an exact release date, and it's really hard to gauge, you know, like if it's going to be Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, whatever, because the one thing that we don't really know about it is how big this game is going to be. You know, anytime you have a smaller studio making a game of this quality, you wonder how much content the game can have, right? Because people can only work so many hours in a day, they can only produce so much. So if you're making that high of a quality of a product, how much can you make in the same amount of time as maybe another company that's not cranking out as high of quality as product? So I don't know how much game time this game is going to have. Obviously, we want it to be a lot more than something like Thymesia is, which is like lower gameplay hours, and you want to push that 20 to 30 hour mark if you can. So that's really my only concern at this point, and that's obviously going to determine, you know, when in 2023 this game comes out, because, you know, the longer the game is, obviously that's going to push the release date out further. So yeah, I'm super excited for this game. Way more excited than I was when I first, you know, got my hands on it. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is, and it just feels so good. And I mean, to all the Bloodborne players out there that haven't quite gotten that Bloodborne itch scratched, I mean, Thymesia came close for me, but it didn't really scratch it. I think Lies of P is the game for you, and I definitely think you're going to want to keep this game on your radar. So what do you guys think of Lies of P so far from what you've seen from the gameplay footage? Does it look good? Is it something that you're interested in? Do you think it will scratch that Bloodborne itch that's been left for us for almost a decade? Let me know in the comments below.